Welcome along to our Champions League post-match show. Good to have you with us tonight, Kate, Thierry, Jamie and Micah. What a smile from Micah Richards. Listen, we've got a whole hour of a post-game here for you. We'll bring you all the reaction from the studio in London and also live from Madrid as well. I guess 1-1 at the Bernabeu. Now you go back to the Etihad next week. How does that affect your confidence levels? Your confidence levels must be high.
Let's not get
He thinks they've won.
Let's not get too excited, because I think Benzema's going to have a say in this tie. I think today was a little bit quiet. Jay mentioned Vinicius before the game. He turned up. The man Kevin De Bruyne turned up as well. So it's all to play for. All I'm saying is, last season, it was at the Bernabeu, the second leg. This time, it's at the Etihad. And you think with a crowd, it'll give them the advantage. That's okay.
Will you still be nervous ahead of the second leg?
Of course, I'm still nervous now, yeah. Still nervous watching that game. It was tense. Man City, I thought, were the better team. But on transition, Real Madrid, know how to get it done. So that's what I'm nervous of.
You had raised some questions about Manchester City's away form before this game. What were your thoughts on how they handled this game?
They played, I mentioned it earlier, a proper semi-final game that you play away from home back in the days where you try to... They have a different way of killing a game off, City. They don't go in front of their box and wait. They make you run with the ball. They keep the ball. That's the best way to defend. If you keep the ball, you don't have to chase it. You have it. But I thought at the time, like away from home a lot this year, obviously you're playing against Madrid, they didn't create a lot, which they scored from outside of the box. Madrid scored from outside of the box. So that tells you that the defense and the organization, whether you play high, really high, to defend, or low, defenders were on top of the strikers. But the midfielders, apart from Vinicius, because I'm talking about the position where he scored the goal, being inside or a winger coming in, shooting, it's very difficult to defend that. Although we can talk about how maybe Ederson was suspicious on the goal, but the power of the strike wasn't also that easy. So a proper tie away from home. Strong performance. Not so much the City way as we see it sometimes, but it was a strong performance.
No, I agree with Thierry, and I think Pep Guardiola, we always pigeonhole him as teams always play the same way. But I don't think they do at times. The makeup of Manchester City's changed over the years in terms of the profile of player. And also when you think of what they did when they went to Bayern Munich, now they had a lead from the first leg, and again, that was a performance that we think about, teams that we played in. You go away from home and you try and hold on to that lead. Now, I know they went on to win the game, but it was almost about stopping Bayern Munich as much. I think towards the end of that game, once it went 1-1, I think Manchester City were happy with the 1-1. And again, it's probably not something that we associate with Manchester City or Pep Guardiola, but he's thinking, this is a great result, let's get out of here. We're 1-1, and we're big favourites going into the second leg. So, yeah, I think it was a really mature performance from Manchester City. We're at the best, but you don't have to be at your best in away games in European football. You need to make sure you're still in the tie by the time you go for the home leg, and that's where City are right now.
So who's your money on next round?
Oh, Man City.
You think Man City will do it?
Yeah, I think Man City are big favourites. I think if Real Madrid would have gone with the one-goal lead, I think it'd have been a 50-50 game, but now I think City are big favourites. All the pressure's on them.
Stupid smile. So let's take a look at that first goal by Vinicius. You called him before the game, I think, the most dangerous player that Real Madrid have, and that definitely rang true tonight.
Yeah, and not just because of the goal. I think throughout the night, I think he was possibly the best player on the pitch tonight. Every time the ball came to him, he was really dangerous. And before the goal goes in, Manchester City had been in a lot of control, really. But as we highlighted at half-time, it's really good football, brave football from Real Madrid to play a 1-2, not far from their own box. But it's Carragher who, to be fair, was alongside Vinicius Jr. in terms of being the best player on the pitch. And we think about him going past players, but, I mean, that strike there. And Thierry, I mean, listen, it doesn't go right in the top corner. The only thing you can say for the goalkeeper is the pace of the passing, because he hits it so well. But I'm asking Thierry, but even further on my right shoulder is a man who I'm sure has got the answer. Rob Green. He hasn't got the answer either.
Yes, guys, how are we doing? It was an interesting... I'll get there eventually. Yeah, I've got the answer. First and foremost, I would say that on that strike, it is the worst feeling in the world for a goalkeeper to be unsighted by a defender. We've got two defenders in the studio. I'll come back to you eventually about this. But the goal is 192 square feet in area. Ederson is expected to cover almost all of this. The ball gets hit, I reckon, around between 50 and 60 miles an hour. As you can see the strike, he's just unsighted. You look at his footing, and he's just got that right foot coming inwards, just a fraction. That time it takes for it to come inwards, that buys into his time into the dive. But first and foremost, it is a fantastic strike. And look at Diaz there. He's blocking the view of Ederson, and he's got his back completely turned to the ball. If a goalkeeper did that, you'd crucify him. Why, as defenders, Jamie, Micah, you're looking at the ball, you're looking at get hit by the ball. Don't turn your back. I turn around and say, actually, Ruben Diaz has more chance of blocking that than Ederson has of saving it.
The goalkeepers' union.
It's a fair question, though, Michael. What's your response to that?
Absolutely. Always sticking together. You knew that.
No, I just think sometimes, now with this whole new handball rule as well, you're trying to get your arms out of the way, and sometimes it can alter your body position. And if you actually look on the angle again, Rob, Ederson's weight is going slightly to the left, so then it was hard for him to get to the right. If he stays still in the middle, he probably can go left and right. Is that fair?
You're talking fractions of time, and you're talking that moment there. You touched on it there, Michael. That you just look at his right foot there, and it's in the air. And it is just, we talk about the timing of the set, and it's just that fraction of a second that it's in the air, that the ball's already travelling, it's already towards him. He hasn't seen it as it goes past Diaz. He can't react in time. I'll tell you what's worse is, as a goalkeeper, you know you've just got that timing a fraction wrong. And sometimes you think, actually, I'm better off not diving for it, letting go in and going, oh, I didn't see it. Diaz has absolutely done me. I can't do anything about this. And everyone goes, oh, he's unsighted. Diving for it, actually, and being beaten is actually your own worst enemy at times.
Rob Green, former England keeper, good to see you. Thank you so much. We will see you in Manchester next week for the return leg. We'll have Peter Schmeichel with us as well, by the way, so we'll have two keepers on the team for that one. Let's talk about the equaliser. Kevin De Bruyne, your man from your time with the Belgian national team. What a beautiful strike this one was to equalise.
I've seen that goal, before, but against Brazil. Same impact. And he has a way of letting the ball come across him to hit it. The way he hits the ball, it reminds me a bit of Steven Gerrard, Jamie. I mean, Gundogan is clever enough to see him lay the balls off. He almost invites him to strike it by the way he laid the balls off. That's very important. First and foremost, he loses the ball there. Then Rodri does ever so well to keep it alive. Okay, now they do City. Relish is on the ball comes back to Gundogan, and now, boom.
Can you talk me through the technique, though? How does he manage to keep it down there?
It's Rivaldo used to strike the ball like that. Once you go across it, you need to let that left leg go up to go with it.
Sort of like a golf swing.
Rivaldo used to do the same thing. It's almost, it's 2 feet out off the ground now. It's
like
crazy.
when Micah took that penalty. Remember when Micah took that?
When Micah took the whole of his body, everything was gone.
Why are you bringing it back to me, Kate?
But look at, if we show it again, if we show it again, it's very important. Look at the balance, how his body is straight. Look, although his legs are going to go all over the place, look at his body. His body is strong, never moves. You see his name, you see his number all the way.
Wow.
All the way. Rivaldo used to do the same thing. I never used to understand that. He used to hit the ball and his two legs used to go over. Kevin.
Can he teach that, though, or not? Is that just a natural ability?
No, you can learn. You can learn that. Everything is possible. Everything is doable. But I'm very happy for Kevin because you saw in the celebration when you can see again the balance. It's like I mean it's beautiful. Really? There's nothing you can say. But sorry, Jimmy, I just wanted to say that the way he celebrated, at one point you will see, you could see it here now, you see? The way he goes, he almost in tears because, as you said, it was important for him today. It was important for City, don't get me wrong. But if you want to go and pass the David Silva, the Aguero, and Yaya Toure and company, if he manages to bring this team to win a treble, or to win the Champions League, it's over.
Resilience and character you've got to show when you come into a stadium like this. The hostility from the home fans, managing this environment is huge. They came in the first half absolutely dominated possession and got sucker punched. But then the game flipped in the second half. When they scored, they were the team that were on the back foot. So it shows you possession isn't what it's all about. It doesn't have to be all possession. You just got to be clinical in the right moments, and they were today. De Bruyne and Vinicius with 2 great strikes, definitely worthy of winning any game. But this ended up a draw. Both teams, I think, be satisfied. All to play for in the next one.
Yeah, obviously disappointing overall, but over the grand scheme of things, you come to the Bernabeu 14 times.
Are you disappointed?
Obviously, because you come with optimism that you're going to win and score more than 1 goal. But again, before the game, you would have took 1-1 at the Bernabeu. But over the course of the tie, you expect City to score a few more goals, hopefully, and then go through. But listen, this is an intense place and an intense atmosphere. So credit to the boys.
You're playing against the history here as well. Yeah. It ain't just the players, these players here. You're playing against the history. Again, we talked about it. The full team trophies. You look in their dugout. Carlo Ancelotti's got 4 as a manager, 4 Champions League winners' medals. They know how to navigate every moment during these type of games because they're so used to it. You're playing against so much, and I think this City team have to be. You got to hold them up and say, you know what, they came here and the way that they performed in terms of character, take on the ball, the bravery to take the ball the way they did. I think that's a phenomenal stance, and for the first game, I think they can come away with this with their head well held high.
I also think it tells its own story that, you know, Kyle Walker and John Stones are happy to come over, shake hands. You know, you don't do that if you're disappointed with a night's work, actually, do you?
Yeah, I think they'll be reasonably relieved, Man City, in the end. As I say, I thought they were very, very good in the first half, and they'll take that away, you know, with them as a positive. But second half, I thought Madrid really started turning the screw, and I think they'll be pleased to get off there today with a draw. The way the game just panned out in the end, tactically, it felt like Pep Guardiola had the upper end first half. It switched in the second half. And the 1-1 draw going back to Manchester is probably something they're quite relieved to have, I think, now.
It's the same old Real Madrid this evening, isn't it? Doing what they do so well. Manchester City have played their part. They've played really well, yet it's Real Madrid who lead.
Yeah, and I have to say, I've been sitting up here, I've marvelled at the composure, the bravery, how they just sit and wait, this team. This Real Madrid team. You look at the City team, they've come here, they've absolutely battered them possession-wise, but that counts for nothing. They're sitting, they're composed, they're waiting, they concentrate, and that minute comes for them to jump and pounce, and the clinical element of this team, it just speaks for itself. Modric here comes with the ball, beats the press. Jolyon mentioned what a player he is in terms of beating that press round the corner, and then from this point on, Vinicius Junior, I mean, I was going bananas in there. This was crazy.
Yeah, obviously when Camavinga's running forward, this is why Bernardo Silva's in the team, to nullify that threat. That hasn't been the case, and it's a great finish. There are a lot of numbers back for City. Can someone engage slightly earlier? But listen, you can't take nothing away from that finish.
He got no change out of Kyle Walker out wide for a long period of time, Jake, and then he's come inside and he's actually done, well, created a right bit of magic. I mean, when they pass the ball into Modric, not many teams would do that. He was marked, he had nothing on. The confidence they've got in each other, both teams that is, even when they're marked, they're happy to give it to great players because they know they'll pull something out the bag. And that little flick from Modric basically beat the Manchester City press, and all of a sudden they're on the back foot.
This is a high-level game. You've got one team complete possession, they're creating shapes on the pitch, asking questions all over the pitch, and then you've got another team that are just composed, sitting there and waiting. No one jumping out and coming out from the shape, and then when they get their moments, they go. And as I said, how clinical they were in that phase of play there. This is a team of just killers in this team. They smell the blood.
The key for City is to keep on asking those questions that Rio mentioned. They need to deal with the opposition, deal with the stadium, deal with the scoreline, and just remember you're only a quarter of the way through this.
Yeah, I don't think City will be panicking. They'll be pleased with how they played in the first half. Yes, the goal was disappointing to concede like that, but overall they've created chances. They've got forward. I think they need to drive past defenders, or try to drive past defenders a little bit more. I think everything's coming inside. It makes it a little bit more predictable and allows Real Madrid to recover. But if they look to just get Bernardo Silva 1v1 a little bit more and say go past him, or try to go past him, and use the threat of Kyle Walker, because Vinicius isn't tracking back.
He's not tracking back. They can double up on that right-hand side. I would not be disappointed if I was Pep Guardiola. Yes, with the scoreline. But that first half hour, I was marvelling up here. You get a great view up here. And tactically, I mean, I thought Pep Guardiola had the advantage tactically. But of course, goals are the most important thing, and they're behind, but no panic, as you say, only quarter of the way through.